Hello and welcome back to the Manly Focus channel. Are you debating whether to stay single or tie the knot? It's a significant life choice, and today we're about to dig deep into this common question that puzzles many men. So, buckle up, because we're going to get real and discuss the cold hard truth about marriage for men. Let's open this episode by addressing an age-old topic that sparks a vast array of opinions and stimulates a debate that's never quite concluded. That's right, today, we're discussing the merits and disadvantages of living a single life versus settling down in matrimony. Is one state inherently more satisfying, more fulfilling than the other? Or perhaps, is this entirely subjective and dependent on personal circumstances and individual temperament? In societal discussions about marriage, it's impossible not to think about the repercussions of giving in to societal norms and expectations. It may be a controversial viewpoint, but there's an underlying sentiment, albeit often unexpressed, that men who choose to marry might be exhibiting a lack of control over their impulses. This viewpoint is not pulled out of thin air, it's backed by hard evidence visible in the fallout of divorce proceedings. It's a widely recognized consensus that men tend to receive less favorable treatment in the aftermath of a marital dissolution. This sparks a curious question: why would any rational man willingly step into the institution of marriage? It seems like the only possible explanation here is that some men are being misled into this lifelong commitment, under the misguided belief that they need a lifelong partner. Unfortunately, these are often the men who end up suffering the most. They find themselves caught in heartbreaking stories of infidelity, cunning manipulation, and severe financial implications in the aftermath of divorce. On a deeper analysis, marriage comes across as a high-stakes gamble. The risk is substantial, with men potentially standing to lose their life savings, property, and facing years, if not decades, of financial obligations in the form of child support. The concept of dependable sex and companionship, as enticing as it may be, is frequently used to draw men into this situation. But one can't help but wonder, at what cost? The idea of men willingly choosing to risk their entire financial future simply out of fear of loneliness seems perplexing, if not outright irrational. From the moment the vows are exchanged, a man's life becomes inexorably intertwined, not just with his spouse, but with a legal system that appears to disproportionately favor women. But let's address another perspective. What about those men who harbor the sincere desire to have children, to build a family of their own? While this desire is understandable, even commendable, it's crucial to exercise extreme caution in selecting the person with whom you choose to create a family. The moment you tie the knot, your relationship becomes subject to the scrutiny and intervention of the legal system. In case of any fallout, the repercussions often tend to tilt in favor of the women. It's a paradox of sorts that men, typically driven by purpose and passion, can be easily swayed by ultimatums and coerced into a situation that could potentially jeopardize their future. So, we can't help but ask, do women knowingly leverage the favor of the legal system to their advantage? Is marriage viewed as a step up the social and economic ladder, a means to gain unfettered access to their husband's resources? Unfortunately, the reality of the social construct of marriage is that it often turns out to be a losing game for men. In case of divorce, the man is often left bearing the brunt of the financial burden, while his hard-earned assets end up in his ex-spouse's possession. It's a situation where the scales of balance seem to be unduly tipped. On the other hand, single life, despite its own unique challenges, has a lot going for it. As a single man, you have full control over your decisions, your lifestyle, and your earnings. You are not tethered by the responsibilities and obligations that come with a legally binding marital contract. And most importantly, the risks of financial drain, loss of self-esteem, and the potential compromise of your future happiness are significantly diminished. That's not to say single life is a guaranteed recipe for lifelong bliss. Happiness is subjective and largely dependent on an individual's personal perspective and circumstances. But it's safe to assert that staying single could safeguard you from a plethora of issues, including depression, anxiety, and other potential pitfalls that could stem from a sour marriage. If someone is rushing you into marriage, take a step back and think. This urgency should serve as your first red flag. The pressure to enter into a binding commitment that isn't in alignment with your current life path or future vision is a telltale sign of potential issues down the line. In conclusion, the decision to remain single or to marry should be made judiciously, weighing all the potential pros and cons. Remember, In the realm of love and relationships, haste rarely leads to good outcomes. The decision to marry should never be the result of societal pressure, emotional manipulation, or an irrational fear of loneliness. It should be a thoughtful choice based on a deep understanding of the potential outcomes and a willingness to accept the ensuing responsibilities. Remember, while it's easy to be swayed by the romanticized notion of marriage, it's crucial to stay grounded in reality. Consider your life's mission, your ambitions, and your individuality before you let someone else significantly influence the trajectory of your life. The key is to be resolute in your commitment to truth and self-awareness. And that, gentlemen, wraps up our discussion on the pros and cons of marriage versus staying single. I hope this video has given you some food for thought, and remember, it's your life, your decision, and you're the one who will be living with the consequences. So choose wisely. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the Manly Focus channel if you haven't already. Don't forget to hit the bell icon so you'll be notified every time we release a new video. We always appreciate your comments and feedback, so leave your thoughts below. Until next time, this is Manly Focus channel reminding you to stay focused, stay empowered, and live your life on your terms.